juice, the sauce, and the tea and get it all on camera for you.
Imagine a cab that's always on time. Imagine experiencing luxury and class at no extra cost. Introducing the new Prepare Taxi hailing app. Download the app today and experience love at first ride.
My friend, how dare you try to park that toy car in the only remaining parking space? Where did you expect me to park my beast? You should know people and respect their worth.
Na kila room ukiingia, fanya usafi kabisa, kung'are.
Sawa. Akia nani mzee yako single.
You're trending on social media. Ko number 3.
That's not enough. Pass me that phone. I need to call that young boy called ex-Christian Deal. He can use his fake followers to make me the #1 trending topic.
With Lipa na M-Pesa, you get more. Every 100 shillings spent on Lipa na M-Pesa earns you an entry into the draw. Do more with Lipa na M-Pesa.
Sonadol Extra imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli kupambana haraka na maumivu ya kichwa, mwili na hata meno. Sonadol Extra, hakika maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Feel good, Coca-Cola and food, Monday to Sunday. We are chasing taste. Let's just grab a bite, the excuse to drink Coca-Cola. Every single day. So we feel forever be real, together stay free, whatever ends. No, we can't stop, we wanna taste the feeling. Nothing can ever bring us down. Taste the feeling.
This is NTV.
A very good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us. You're watching NTV at 1. It is the 24th of February 2020. My name is Kenei Ismail. Now, a post-mortem examination on the body of the slain policeman attached to the Deputy President William Ruto's office is set to be held today at the Chiromo Mortuary, and the body of Sergeant Kipyegon Kenei has been in custody of the police since his death last week, and the post-mortem examination is expected to shed more light on exactly how he met his death. Our reporter Sharon Baranga is currently there at the Chiromo Mortuary and will be joining us in just a moment to give us more details and, of course, some of the findings by the police with regards to the death of the slain policeman. But also away from that, the government has extended the deadline for applying for the new e-passports by another year. The deadline, which was earlier set for March 2020, has been pushed forward in a bid to allow at least 1.8 million Kenyans, mostly in the diaspora, applying for the passports. Kenyans will continue to use the dark blue passports for travel till the set date. The speed up of the application processes, the government has set up and operationalized 4 passport control centers in Nakuru, Kisii, Eldoret and Embu, and 6 others in the diaspora. Plans are also underway to achieve same-day issuance of passports by July 1st, 2020. Kenyans have been urged to take full advantage of this period to acquire the EAC format electronic passport in order to avoid the last-minute rush. All right, and even away from that, of course, we'll be taking a look at what is happening at State House here in Nairobi. And of course, President Uhuru Kenyatta has formally received visiting German President Frank-Walter at State House. And of course, the visit is definitely the first by a sitting German president to our country. The two heads of state will be holding bilateral meetings that will cover, amongst other issues, things to do with climate change, advancement of digital technology, and social and economic development. And our reporter also is on standby. Ken Mijungu will be telling us what really is the importance of this particular state visit. There you have it, the pictures there on your screen. All is ready for that particular press briefing between President Uhuru Kenyatta and the German President Frank-Walter. All right, and we'll be joining our reporter Ken Mijungu, who is currently at State House, to give us more details on the same. Well, away from that, there is a reorganization of the traffic department in the country, and Seth Olale is at the NTSA offices with more details on the same. Seth, what can you tell us from what is happening?
Well, thank you. A very good afternoon here from South Sea, the CID pavilion. Actually, the IG of police, that is Inspector General Henry Mutambai, did say that the whole department is being reorganized. They are introducing mobile police that will replace the static ones who are often seen around roundabouts, and especially where the traffic lights are placed. And even this will include major roads such as highways. So they just want this particular enforcement be done immediately. And that is why today the NTSA actually offered like 27 vehicles to the police, and this will be used towards for patrolling purposes in major highways. But even the big news, according to the IG, is that they don't want static, if you want permanent traffic police officers located at specific areas. They want them replaced by mobile ones. These ones will be patrolling in major highways and also the city center using mobile vehicles, and that is why it is coming as a boost for the law enforcers after the NTSA issued about 27 police vehicles to effect this particular change. But even it's worth noting that the regional police traffic commanders have been empowered more, because they have been given about 8 4x4 off-road vehicles that will enable them even execute their mandate effectively as far as traffic is concerned. So they are talking about 27 counties that will flag off this particular initiative. But it is also interesting because the new Director General for the NTSA, that is George Njau, did not turn up for this particular event. And earlier on, journalists, fielded a lot of concerns in regards to NTSA following the latest outburst of criminal elements, even going further as far as, hacking the NTSA system in terms of the car theft syndicate and racket that has been concerned over the decades. And so journalists here just wanted the NTSA boss perhaps just to respond to what is being taken to ensure that these elements who are now believed to be colluding with staff at NTSA, how can this racket be stopped once and for all? But the DG for the Director General for NTSA, the new one, that is George Njau, did not turn up even for this event of handing over NTSA vehicles to the police. But that is not an issue according to the police, and according to Henry Mutambai, that is the police Inspector General, did say that they will go on with their mandate, and they are expecting collaboration and cooperation from the NTSA to ensure that especially traffic is enhanced. Easy traffic is enhanced along major roads and also major towns in the country. But of course, that is an update that we will be giving our viewers in our subsequent bulletins.
All right, thank you so much, Seth Olale, there speaking to us on the reorganization of the traffic department. Well, away from that and back to our top story, a post-mortem examination of the body of the slain policeman who was attached to Deputy President William Ruto is set to be held today at the Chiromo Mortuary. And of course, the body of the Sergeant Kipyegon Kenei has been in the custody of the police since his death last week. And the post-mortem examination is expected to shed more light on exactly how he met his death. Our reporter Sharon Baranga is now joining us live from Chiromo Mortuary. Sharon, what more details have you been able to gather from this? Has the post-mortem already been conducted on the body, and what are the results?
Thank you, Zainab. We just arrived at the Chiromo Mortuary in Nairobi, and earlier on we talked to one of the relatives of Sergeant Kipyegon Kenei, and she told us that the post-mortem is not going to be done today. They are not yet sure on when it's going to be done, but they have been here since morning, and by all indications is that the post-mortem of their loved one, Sergeant Kenei, is not going to be done today. So what we know so far is that detectives are still pursuing crucial leads that will help unravel exactly what happened to Sergeant Kenei, who was found shot dead at his home in Imara Daima Estate last week on Thursday. Now, there was a suicide note that was found in his house, but the family says they are not buying the idea that Sergeant Kenei killed himself. There was also an analysis that was done on the suicide note, and it was found that the handwriting of Sergeant Kenei, who was attached to Deputy President William's office, did not match the suicide note that was found. So that is one of the many things that detectives are also looking into with regards to the death of Sergeant Kenei, who was a key witness to the 40 billion shillings arms deal, fake arms deal that has been hitting the headlines of late. Kenei was found shot dead in his house, and it's one of the things that is being looked into. He had a gunshot wound on his head, which is one of the things that is being investigated on. Some of the accused men on the 40 billion shillings fake arms deal have already pleaded not guilty, and a pre-trial is set for the 3rd March. Back to you, Zainab.
All right, Sharon Baranga there, of course, keeping tabs with the ongoing developments with regards to the death of the policeman that was attached to the office of the Deputy President. Of course, she's telling us that that post-mortem has been postponed for that. That's the information we've been able to gather so far. Sergeant Kipyegon Kenei's body will still remain in police custody. As we get more details of exactly what will be happening, we'll be linking up with Sharon as well later on in our subsequent bulletins for more details. Well, President Uhuru Kenyatta this morning formally received visiting German President Frank Walter at State House in Nairobi. The visit is the first state visit by a sitting German president to Kenya. The two heads of state are holding bilateral meetings that will cover, amongst other issues, climate change, advancement of digital technology, and social and economic development. And our senior reporter Ken Mujungu is at State House for that particular event. Ken, if you can hear me, what can you tell us about the state visit? Okay, we will be joining Ken maybe later on, but definitely the live pictures there. President Uhuru Kenyatta walking side by side by Deputy President William Ruto, of course, walking, all right, coming. All right, so there you have it. They are just coming out of State House, President Uhuru Kenyatta, together with the German President Frank Walter. And these are the live pictures that we have so far. Of course, members of the cabinet, the Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Peter Munya, ICT CS there, Joe Musheru, Najib Balala, Tourism CS. So we have all the cabinet secretaries now coming out, and George Magoha, Education Cabinet Secretary, some visiting delegates there from Germany, I believe, the ambassador of Germany to Kenya, and the president, Frank Walter Steinmeier, will definitely be now walking towards the podium where He is expected to address alongside President Uhuru Kenyatta on issues of bilateral relations with Kenya. Remember, like I said, this is the very first state visit by a sitting German president to Kenya. And amongst of course, some of the issues that we expect them to cover are issues which will revolve around climate change, advancement of digital technology, and of course issues of social and economic development as well. So there you have it, live pictures from State House, and of course this let's just listen into what is happening there.
And His Excellency Frank Steiner of the Federal Republic of Germany. Immediately after their press briefing, we will allow the press to ask 2 questions, and then they will retreat. Please have your seats.
Thank you all, and thank you for coming. And I just would like to take this opportunity to welcome you, Your Excellency, Frank Walter Steinmeier, President of the Federal Republic of Germany, on this historic state visit to Kenya. Kenya and Germany have enjoyed a long history of cooperation, and I believe that this visit is indeed an opportunity to deepen our existing ties and to forge new areas of partnership for mutual benefit for the people of our 2 countries. This visit is the first visit by a President of the Federal Republic of Germany to Kenya since independence, and I believe it illustrates a desire by our 2 countries to scale up the scope of our development, cooperation across a multitude of sectors. I believe our respective delegations are going to work to create new partnerships that will generate solutions to challenges that we both face, and these include youth employment, the humanitarian crisis in Europe and Africa, security and terror threats, as well as the important subject of climate change. The backbone of our sustainable employment for the youth has to be anchored also in quality education in both competency and skill-based training. Indeed, during the President's visit, we will lay together the foundation stone of the Kenya-German TVET Institute initiative at the Kiambu Institute of Science and Technology, which is one of over 100 such TVET institutions in our country. Indeed, Kenya has achieved a 100% transition from primary to secondary level education, and we are grateful to our international partners, and Germany in particular, for their support in this endeavor. I also note with appreciation that the government of the Federal Republic of Germany has offered to support new programs through the Kenyan-German initiative to promote youth employment, and they have offered to share experiences and resources to help us transform the manufacturing and agricultural sectors, as well as the blue economy through technical and vocational education training. And subsequently, under this initiative, 3 centers of excellence have been established. Germany will co-finance with Kenya a phase 1 at a total cost of 26.4 million euros, while phase 2 will be co-financed to establish a further 4 other TVET centers at a total of 13 million euros. We also note that the relevant agreements and MOUs have been signed between our 2 countries, including financial and technical agreements, increased employment and industrial competence in Kenya, as envisioned by the strengthening of the education sector, calls for an increased investment in trade, manufacturing, and agriculture. Indeed, as I said earlier, they have over 100 German companies here in Kenya, and we believe that there exists still more scope for a deepening of our partnership. I noted also during our discussions that Germany is Kenya's 4th largest trading partner. We want to see the trade and investment between our 2 countries also increase. We have also discussed the challenges that Kenyans living in Germany as well as Germans living in Kenya, are facing. And we agreed to map out a cooperation framework, hopefully, that will ease the day-to-day operations of our citizens and the organizations that employ them and rely on their vital services. So finally, as I conclude, I take this opportunity to express my appreciation for the support that Kenya has received from the Federal Republic of Germany, and indeed it is my continued hope and aspiration that what we have enjoyed in the past through mutual support and development marks the embarkation point for stronger ties and opportunities for growth for our countries, our peoples, and our economies. I thank you, and Mr. President, I welcome you to make a few remarks as well. Thank you.
Ja, vielen Dank, Herr Präsident Kenyatta. Vielen Dank für Ihre freundlichen Worte zu Beginn. Ich freue mich, nach 5 Jahren wieder zurück in Nairobi in Kenia zu sein. Damals, vor 5 Jahren, kam ich als Außenminister, heute als Präsident meines Landes. Und ich muss zugeben, ich habe selbst bei der Vorbereitung gelernt, dass dieses der erste Besuch eines deutschen Staatspräsidenten in Kenia ist. Und das, obwohl Deutschland der erste Staat war, der Kenia 1963 anerkannt war. In einem Wort, dieser Besuch war überfällig.
Thank you, President Kenyatta. Thank you for your friendly words of welcome. I am delighted to be back to Nairobi, back to Kenya after 5 years of absence of mine. At the time I came 5 years ago, I came as Foreign Minister of my country. Now I'm back as the President of the Federal Republic of Germany. And as I was preparing for my visit to your country, I have to admit, I was amazed to see that this is indeed the first state visit of a German president to your country, although Germany was the first country to recognize Kenya when it became independent in 1963. Thus, I believe it is fair to say that this visit of mine has been long overdue.
Sie haben es gesagt, Herr Präsident, unsere beiden Länder sind auf vielfältige Art und Weise eng miteinander verbunden. Und als die größten Länder in ihren Regionen haben wir auch gemeinsame Interessen an der Stabilität der Regionen. Darüber hinausgehend, wir haben eben im Gespräch mit den Delegationen darüber gesprochen, auch weit über unsere eigenen Länder und eigenen Regionen hinaus, etwa im Kampf gegen den weltweiten Klimawandel.
You mentioned earlier, Mr. President, the fact that although both our countries are closely linked in numerous ways, then again we are the biggest countries in our respective regions, and thus we share common interest in maintaining the stability of the respective region. We also talked earlier today with the members of our delegation present, not only about issues affecting both our countries and the respective regions we represent, but we also spoke of areas where we share common interests, such as fighting the impact of climate change.
Deshalb darf ich Ihnen, Herr Präsident, im Namen der gesamten deutschen Delegation, die auch eine Business-Delegation enthält und viele Leute aus dem kulturellen und Sportbereich dabei sind, deshalb darf ich Ihnen ganz herzlich danken für die Einladung in Ihr schönes Land, das deutsche Touristen jedes Jahr zu Tausenden besuchen. Herzlichen Dank für den vertrauensvollen Austausch, den wir heute Morgen schon haben konnten und sicherlich im Verlaufe dieser Tage, die wir hier sind, weiter fortsetzen können.
And this is why I would like to thank you, Mr. President, on behalf of the members of my delegation, and my delegation actually also includes representatives of the German business community, also representatives of the sphere of culture and the sports, but I would like to thank you most warmly on behalf of my delegation for having invited us here to your beautiful country, a country that has attracted and continues to attract thousands of German tourists every year. Thank you for this very friendly exchange we've had this morning, and I look forward and am confident that we're going to continue to have such a friendly exchange in the course of the days we are going to spend here.
Herr Präsident, Sie haben auf die wirtschaftlichen Verbindungen zwischen unseren beiden Ländern hingewiesen. In der Tat, Kenia ist der wichtigste Wirtschaftspartner Deutschlands hier im ostafrikanischen Raum. Und mit einem derzeitigen Projektportfolio von ca. 500 Millionen Euro auch Schwerpunktpartnerland der deutschen entwicklungspolitischen Zusammenarbeit.
Mr. President, you pointed out in your introductory statement that the economic ties between both our countries are well developed, and you hinted at the importance of those ties. Indeed, Kenya is the most important economic partner country of Germany in the east of Africa, and we have a project portfolio of 500 million euros, which makes your country one of the priority countries of development cooperation of Germany.
Und in diesem Zusammenhang, Herr Präsident, haben Sie mir in dem Gespräch, das wir eben haben konnten, Ihre innenpolitischen Reformvorhaben vorgestellt, zu denen ganz prominent die Bekämpfung der Korruption gehört, aber auch der Ausbau professioneller Berufsausbildung, unter anderem für Jugendliche. Und wir haben darüber gesprochen, ob wir die bisherige Kooperation im Bereich der beruflichen Bildung, wir werden morgen gemeinsam ein Berufsbildungszentrum besuchen, ob wir darüber hinaus nicht auch im Bereich der sogenannten Fachhochschulausbildung, Applied Science, stärkere Zusammenarbeit finden können, ob deutsche Fachhochschulen nicht behilflich sein können bei der Entwicklung einer ähnlichen Ausbildungs- und akademischen Ausbildung, wie wir sie in Deutschland genießen.
And in this context, Mr. President, you said to me earlier in our bilateral exchange, you used the opportunity to present to me your reform projects, and you said that you were focusing very much on fighting corruption, and that you were also making the further development of professional training and education for, above all, the young people of your country, one of your major priorities. In that context, we discussed ways and means in which we can expand the already existing cooperation in the area of professional and vocational training. We both, you pointed to that fact, are going to visit a technical vocational training center together tomorrow. And as I said, expand that cooperation also to include the area of what we in Germany call universities of applied sciences. That is something where perhaps German universities of applied sciences can bring their expertise and their experiences to bear and help you develop perhaps along the German lines of such a system, a similar system that fits the needs of your country.
Wir haben, Herr Präsident, Sie haben es angedeutet, in Ihren Anmerkungen auch über regionale Themen gesprochen, wie zum Beispiel Kenias Engagement im Kampf gegen internationalen Terrorismus, natürlich vornehmlich die Beteiligung Kenias bei AMISOM, wo Kenia einer der wichtigen Truppensteller ist. Und ich darf Ihnen auch hier bei dieser Gelegenheit und vor den Medien nochmal unsere große Wertschätzung überbringen, das Engagement, das Kenia hier zur Stabilisierung der nördlichen Nachbarregionen in Somalia unternimmt.
Mr. President, you indicated earlier that we also talked about regional issues, amongst them, for example, Kenya's commitment and engagement in the fight against international terrorism, the participation of Kenya in the efforts of AMISOM, Kenya being one of the most important troop contributors to AMISOM. And I would like to use this opportunity to once again express our acknowledgement and our respect, and I do this on purpose here in front of the representatives of the media, our respect for the commitment that your country has shown, trying to help to contribute to the stabilization of a northern neighbor of yours, and that is Somalia.
Und wir unterschätzen die Anstrengungen nicht, die Sie dort unternehmen, und wir wissen auch, dass der Kampf, den Sie bereit sind zu führen, unter zum Teil schweren Verlusten und auch immer wiederkehrenden Anschlagsserien von Al-Shabaab geführt werden muss, wie jüngst erst beim Jahreswechsel 2019 auf 2020.
We do in no way underestimate the effort that goes into your participation there to help stabilize the situation on the ground. And we do also acknowledge the importance of your readiness to engage in that fight there for stabilization. We know that it is a serious battle, that it is something that entails severe losses, losses of life, repeated attacks suffered by Al-Shabaab, just as the recent one on the turn of the year 2019 to 2020.
Wir haben eben im Delegationsgespräch auch über die weltweite Flüchtlingssituation gesprochen, und wir wissen natürlich auch, wie groß die Migrationsbewegungen innerhalb von Afrika sind. Ich will ausdrücklich hervorheben das Engagement, das Kenia zeigt, Flüchtlingen den Zugang zu Bildung zu ermöglichen, wichtige Schritte darauf hin, auch den Flüchtlingen eine Zukunftsperspektive hier zu bieten. Und ich habe dem Präsidenten der Delegation auch gedankt dafür, dass meine Delegation und ich im Verlauf unseres Besuchs in Kenia die Gelegenheit haben werden, uns einen eigenen Eindruck von der Lage der Flüchtlinge in Kakuma zu machen und dort Gelegenheit zu haben, mit den inländischen und ausländischen Helfern zu sprechen.
In the exchange that we had with the members of our delegations present, we also raised the issue of the situation of the refugees in the world. We are very much aware of the fact that there are enormous migratory movements across the African continent, and I would like to highlight the fact that Kenya has shown a great commitment and engagement when it comes to also allowing refugees to have access to education and further training. Important steps, I believe, if you want to provide a future for refugees, and I acknowledge the efforts that your country has undertaken in that regard. And I would like to thank the President and the members of his delegation for allowing and making it possible for me and the members of my delegation during my visit to your country also to visit the situation on the ground, so to speak, to go to one of those counties where the refugees are being integrated, the county of Kakuma, and to talk to aid personnel, people who assist in the integration process, domestic and international ones there.
Aber Notsituationen, das wissen wir, gibt es natürlich nicht nur in den Nachbarregionen, sondern auch in Kenia. Kenia war auch betroffen von Dürren und von starken Regenfällen. Das ist einer der Gründe dafür, dass die deutsche Bundesregierung nach wie vor in ihren Schwerpunktgebieten der Zusammenarbeit mit Kenia auf Ernährung und Landwirtschaft ausgerichtet ist. Aber wir wissen natürlich auch, dass die langfristige Arbeit, die dazu notwendig ist, ergänzt werden muss, um Mittel, die in Notsituationen zur Verfügung stehen müssen. Wir leisten unsere Beiträge zur FAO natürlich, um die Folgen zum Beispiel der Heuschreckenplage mindestens zu mildern. Und die deutsche Bundesregierung, das Außenministerium, hat zusätzlich zu den bisher geleisteten Mitteln gerade gestern beschlossen, noch 3 Millionen zusätzlich über die FAO zu zahlen.
But of course, we know that there are other emergencies that affect not only the neighboring countries of Kenya, but Kenya too is affected to quite some extent. You have gone through several serious droughts. You have suffered severe spells of heavy rainfall. And this is but one of the reasons why the German government continues to make food security and agriculture a continuing priority of German development cooperation. We know, of course, and are fully aware of the fact that we need to support the long-term efforts by granting additional emergency assistance whenever the need for it arises. As I said, we're making a contribution towards the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization. We are also contributing, helping to fight the severe impact of the locust infestation on the African continent, East Africa and in Kenya. And in addition to the funds already provided on the part of the German Foreign Ministry, we also announced today that the German Foreign Office will make available another 3 million euros in addition to what we already are making available, and we will make available those funds via the FAO.
Zum Schluss, Herr Präsident, Sie haben auf die langen, engen, traditionellen Beziehungen zwischen unseren beiden Ländern hingewiesen. Das ist richtig, darauf können wir unsere weiteren Anstrengungen fußen lassen. Aber es gibt natürlich auch immer wieder Neues zu entdecken und wir schauen natürlich von Deutschland aus auch mit großem Interesse auf die vibrierende Start-up-Szene, die sich hier in Nairobi entwickelt hat. Nairobi gilt ja schon seit Jahren als so etwas wie das Silicon Savannah und eine ihrer Mitbegründerinnen, Protagonistinnen ist die junge kenianische Unternehmerin Juliana Rotich, die mit Blick auf den digitalen Fortschritt in Afrika tiefes gesellschaftliches Gespür, unternehmerisches Talent bewiesen hat und ihr ist deshalb letztes Jahr der Afrikapreis der Deutschen Afrika-Stiftung verliehen worden.
And finally, Mr. President, you pointed to the long, close and traditional ties between both our countries and peoples. Yes, this is undeniably right. It is something that we can build on. But then again, I believe there's always something new for us to discover. And that's the Germans. And Germany look with great interest to the vibrant startup scene here in your country, in Nairobi. Not without reason has it been called for quite some years now Silicon Savannah. And there is just one example, to give you just one example of this, the young Kenyan entrepreneur, Juliana Rotich, who not only has an antenna for progress and social changes in your country, she's also engaged in digital projects, and thus she was the recipient of last year's Africa Award granted by the Africa Foundation.
Also alles in allem, meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, meine Delegation und ich freuen uns auf 3 Tage mit spannenden Begegnungen, Gesprächen und sicherlich sehr vielfältigen Eindrücken, die wir aus Ihrem wunderschönen Land mit nach Hause, mit nach Deutschland zurücknehmen.
Well, all, in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, I and the members of my delegation very much look forward to these 3 days we are going to spend in your beautiful country. We look forward to fascinating encounters, interesting exchanges, and very diverse impressions. As I said, we will undoubtedly take home from your beautiful country.
Now, Your Excellencies, we will take questions from the press, 2 questions from the German press and 2 questions from the Kenyan press, and we'll begin with the German press, please. The first question.
My name is Ulrich Steinkohl, Deutsche Presseagentur. Präsident Kenyatta, ich habe eine Frage an Sie. Wünscht sich Ihr Land, wünschen Sie sich mehr deutsches Engagement, wirtschaftliches Engagement, mehr Engagement deutscher Unternehmen in Ihrem Land? Und wie kann das erreicht werden? Was haben Sie anzubieten? Und Herr Bundespräsident, die Frage auch an Sie. Wie sehen Sie diese Frage?
Mr. President, President Kenyatta, I would like to address a question to you. Does your country, do you personally would wish to see greater economic engagement and commitment on the part of Germany, on the part of German companies in your country? And if so, in what way would that or should that take place? And what would you have to offer? And of course, that very same question goes also to the German president, and we would appreciate his take on that.
Wonderful. Without doubt, Kenya is very keen to deepen her economic partnership with Germany. Germany being a very strong pillar within the European Union. So she becomes an important partner for us, for both trade and investment, not only between Kenya and Germany, but also between Kenya and the larger European Union. And we are very excited by the interest that German companies have shown. Accompanying the president is a number of private sector players who are here to explore the possibilities and the potential that exist. We ourselves are very keen to see ourselves deepen our partnership in manufacturing, in agriculture, as the president has mentioned, in the startup scene, that is really taking strong root here in Kenya. And in fact, we were just mentioning today that as we were busy in our bilateral meeting, there is a new German company, Braun, that is also establishing itself today and officially launching its activities here in Kenya. So we will continue to provide an enabling environment, and we have been focusing ourselves. For the last 4 years, we have managed to strongly improve our doing business indicators. The World Bank at one stage 5 years ago ranked us at about number 130 in the world in terms of ease of doing business. Today, we are now ranked 53rd and moving in the right direction, trying to improve and to have a much, much better and more attractive environment for our people to do business. And this is why we're also focusing ourselves on the governance issues and other such bottlenecks that may be a hindrance towards investors who can come, create, establish their enterprises here in Kenya, and through that process also help us meaningfully engage our young people through the creation of meaningful jobs. So we are very keen to deepen our partnership between our two countries, and I look forward to this visit being one such example of how we can continue to deepen that partnership and encourage our two private sectors to cooperate much more as we move forward.
Deutsche Unternehmen, das wissen Sie, sind international sehr aktiv. Deshalb schauen sie mit mehr Interesse als noch vor Jahren auch auf den afrikanischen Markt. Wenn es Hindernisse gibt, so liegen die Hindernisse zum ersten nach meiner Erfahrung ganz häufig in der Unwissenheit. Häufig werden Hindernisse vermutet, die entweder so gar nicht mehr bestehen oder an denen mindestens gearbeitet wird. Deshalb, Herr Steinkohl, auf Ihre Frage hin würde ich eine allererste Antwort geben und sagen, Information über die Investitionsbedingungen, über die Rahmenbedingungen, auch politischen Rahmenbedingungen, ist wichtig. Zweitens muss die besondere Kultur von deutschen Unternehmen gesehen werden, die vielleicht anders ist als die von anderen Investoren, die hier in Kenia tätig sind. Deutsche Investoren kommen in aller Regel nicht mit einem großen Staff, mit eigenen Arbeitern, sondern sie suchen ausgebildete Arbeit vor Ort. Und deshalb rechtfertigt und begründet sich darin auch das Engagement, das Deutschland zeigt bei der beruflichen Ausbildung. Das hilft einerseits deutschen Unternehmen, ausgebildete Arbeitskräfte vor Ort zu finden und andererseits auch Kenia, um ausgebildete Arbeit zur Verfügung zu haben, aus denen auch Selbstständigkeit neu entstehen kann. Drittens, eine Frage, die mich von deutschen Unternehmen natürlich auch auf dem Flug hierher begleitet hat, ist die Frage nach dem Stand der Korruption. Und hier ist entscheidend wichtig, dass der Präsident eben in seinen Anmerkungen auch nochmal kundgetan hat, dass dieses zu den Prioritäten der kenianischen politischen Führung gehört. Und ich glaube, auch hier liegt es im beiderseitigen Interesse, dass es im Kampf gegen die Korruption signifikante Fortschritte gibt.
As you may be aware, German companies are indeed very active when it comes to engaging and investing abroad. And that is why, and I also believe that that is one of the explanations why they have shown a greater interest in the African countries than they used to show only a couple of years ago. Now, as regards the possible impediments or barriers to trade that you, I believe, hinted at, I believe that this is very much to do with the lack of knowledge about the situation on the ground. Very often people expect impediments to investment activities that are no longer in existence or that are already a subject of efforts of the respective governments to be dealt with. And if I were to respond to this question here and now, I would say what they need to do is first and foremost to inform themselves, to acquire knowledge about the situation on the ground. That includes investment conditions, but also the political framework conditions for investment activity by foreign companies. And secondly, I would also advise them to bear in mind that German companies have a specific culture of their own, and that might slightly differ from the culture of other businesses that invest here in your country, in Kenya, that is. Because as a rule, German investors tend to not come here with a very large amount of staff or people, but they come here, intend to recruit the staff they need on the ground in situ. And that, I believe, is also an explanation why Germany is investing so much in TVET, in vocational technical education here in your country, because it is something that helps both sides. It helps the German companies find the kind of skilled labor they need in order to continue their investment activities here, and it is helpful to Kenya getting the kind of qualifications and skills that are required to generate further self-employment. And the third suggestion I would make to German companies, and I'm making that point because as I flew over here, some of the German entrepreneurs that are members of my delegation approached me and talked to me about this, is the level of corruption, of course, and that is something where I was pleased to hear that the President of Kenya has just indicated that that is one of the priority areas for the Kenyan political leadership. And I believe that this, again, is something that will be in the interest of both our countries, of both our investors, if we show significant progress in that regard.
Okay, a second question, please.
Birgit Schmeitzner, working with public broadcaster ARD. A question for both of you, if I may. President Kenyatta, you mentioned climate change, and there are myriads of locusts at the moment over your country. What are your concerns as it comes to harvesting and nutrition of your people? And President Steinmeier, you mentioned the additional financial help Germany will provide. Would you tell us some more of your thoughts about the broader picture? Because locusts are connected to climate change, as I thought in the beginning, and climate change is mostly produced in richer countries, just like Germany. Thank you.
Well, indeed, Kenya is very concerned about the issues surrounding climate change, and we are concerned very much because we are victims of climate change. The impact of recurrent droughts, floods, and as a result also the infestation that we have seen of locusts that is largely associated with flooding, not so much in Kenya, but in Yemen and other countries that has now impacted ourselves. So I think for us, climate change is a reality, and we are looking to partner with everybody around this globe to understand that these are issues that affect mankind, and we must begin to address ourselves to these issues in a very consistent manner. We are very grateful, for example, for the support that the President just mentioned in helping us fight this locust infestation. It has been a serious problem. We have done everything that we can do. We strongly believe, though, that as a result of some of the mitigation that we have done, the damage to our harvest may not be as bad as it was predicted, but all the same we need to ensure that we continue to put more effort into this area, because it looks like this will be a recurring situation as we move into the future. So our concern now is to ensure that we are well prepared to address ourselves to the challenges that will keep arising out of these climatic changes that we are experiencing. I consistently say that the problem of climate change is not a problem for Africa, it's not a problem for the developing countries, it's a problem of the world. And we all just need to play our part and our role in ensuring that we do that which is necessary to protect this planet for future generations.
Ja, was die an mich gerichtete Frage angeht, wir lernen immer wieder, auch hier in Kenia, auch aus den Gesprächen, die wir eben hatten, das Weltklima ist kein mechanistisches System. Welche Änderungen genau, welche Folgen zeigen, ist nicht leicht voraussehbar, aber in der geringen Voraussehbarkeit liegt zum Beispiel das Problem hier in Kenia. Wir hören, dass es zu dieser Jahreszeit eigentlich üblicherweise keinen Regen gibt, in diesem Jahr eigentlich unerwartet viel Regen, was die Voraussehbarkeit für die Landwirtschaft in höherem Maße erschwert. Dass es einen Zusammenhang zwischen der Heuschreckenplage und der Klimaveränderung gibt, das liegt auf der Hand, ist von den Wissenschaftlern inzwischen auch bestätigt. Aber ich verstehe Ihre Frage ja auch so, dass Sie sagen, es nützt auch nichts mit Nothilfen. Es ist nicht ausreichend, sollte ich eher sagen, mit Nothilfen zur Verfügung zu stehen, sondern wenn man die Zusammenhänge ernst nimmt, dann kommt es.
Our German President there, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, together with President Uhuru Kenyatta, of course, addressing members of the press on a number of issues. Remember, today is the first day of the state visit of the German president into the country, and of course, bilateral relations between the two countries has been at the top of the agenda between the meeting by the two, together with the delegates from both countries, and of course, issues of investment in trade, manufacturing, agriculture, also matters of education have been widely discussed, and other areas of cooperation have also included talks of food security and agriculture in the country, and of course how Germany can invest in Kenya on a number of issues. Like I said, education being at the top of that agenda. It will be a 3-day state visit by the President of Germany, together with the delegates from Germany as well. So it will be very interesting to get more details from this particular meeting, and of course this press briefing. Ken Mijungu is on standby. We ended, of course, listening in to the views that have been delivered today. We're going to take a very short break here on NTV at 1. When we come back, Ida Waringa will be bringing us all the sporting action. Stay with us.
New Blue Band Peanut Butter. Made with 100% pure peanuts and a good source of omega-6. Grow healthy and happy kids with New Blue Band Peanut Butter.
Building tips for general construction should be bought from reliable sources, should not get dry before the specific curing time given for best results, must be kept certified. Exactly 50 kilograms guaranteed in each bag.
Adding strength to Kenya's landmarks, power for specialized constructions, cementing the nation's future. Simba Cement, the strength and pride of Kenya.
Now also produced in Nakuru and Mombasa.
Rashes again? Kiss Kids diapers. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Bye-bye rashes. Buy diapers. Choose Kiss Kids.
A good afternoon to you. Time to play here on NTV. I'm Ida Waringa, and Kenya's Christine Ongare beat Burundi's Ornella Havyarimana in the women's flyweight at the ongoing African Boxing Olympics qualifiers in Dakar, Senegal. Now Ongare, who happens to be a former footballer, will face second seed Zalia Modestine Munga from Congo in the quarterfinal. Ongare's victory went some way in making up for Kenya's earlier losses. Third seed flyweight Shafi Bakari and middleweight Rayton Okwiri both controversially lost out on split decisions to Ghana's Tete Sulemanu and Ugandan top seed Kavuma David Semoju, respectively. Monday's action sees a deputy team skipper Elizabeth Andiego face Radi Adosinda from Mozambique in the women's middleweight quarters. Elizabeth Akinyi tackle Ghana's Osuman Faruza in the welterweight last 8, and Humphrey Ochieng take on Asagir Mohammed from Morocco in the men's lightweight.
But walked onto a southpaw left, and again a query bringing his experience to bear and working the man over.
All the best to the Kenyans taking part today. To local football's second tier, where Nairobi Steamer trounced Mount Kenya United to cement third place in the National Super League with a game in hand as the race for promotion heats up. Meanwhile, sixth placed Ushuru took a dent, going down 2-1 at Camp Toyoyo to Fortune Sacco, who are in seventh position. In other matches, Kibera Black Stars edged Shabana 3-2 in a mid-table clash, while Muranga Seal and Coast Steamer drew 1-1 at the newly opened St. Sebastian Park pitch. Athletics now in African Championship 1500 meters champion Kwalin Kiprop, World Under 25,000 meters champion Beatrice Chebet, and the University of Nairobi's Ferdinand Omanyala won their finals in the last day of the first Athletics Kenya track and field event that was held in Eldoret. Steve Kater with more.
It was a sizzling battle in the women's 1500 meters final as Caroline Kiprop of Torongo Club took on Eunice Soom of the National Police Service. Kiprop clocked 4 minutes 20.3 seconds to beat Soom, who clocked 4 minutes 20.8 seconds. Jarinta Mawia of Kenya Navy finished third. Ferdinand Omanyala dominated sprints, winning 100 meters and 200 meters finals. He clocked 10.4 seconds to win 100 meters and 20.7 seconds to win 200 meters. Maximila Imali of police clocked 11.7 seconds to win 100 meters in women category, while Helen Siombo also of police clocked 54.2 seconds to win 400 meters. The 5,000 women's finals was dominated by the Londiani-based Chebet sisters. Beatrice Chebet clocked 15 minutes 57.4 seconds to beat her elder sister who clocked 15 minutes 57.9 seconds. Lydia Jeruto finished third.
Na ningependa kumshukuru Sandra pia kwa usaidizi yenye tumesaidiana naye kwa hii competition ya leo. At least tumemotivateana.
And we want to appeal to the government to fast track all its processes to make sure that Kipchoge Stadium is on course for these athletes to compete on it.
Most athletes who participated in the meet now have their eyes set for the Olympics.
No, I'll be doing the 800 in the trials for the Olympics. Yes.
I'm planning on running a sub 10 because napenda 100 meters more. So I'm planning on qualifying with 100 meters.
Athletics Kenya lauded athletes for turning up in large numbers and urged them to do the same in the next meets. The next Athletics Kenya Field and Track Events meeting will be held in Nairobi, Embu and Kisumu. Reporting for NTV Sports from Eldoret, the city of champions, I'm Steve Keter.
And thanks a lot for that, Kitera. Let's move on to matters international. Atletico Madrid returned to winning ways with a 3-1 victory over Villarreal. This as Roma thrashed Lecce 4-0 in Italy. Well, Villarreal took the lead courtesy of Paco Alcacar in the 16th minute before Angel Correa leveled the scores with 5 minutes left into the break.
With the families of those who lost their lives. Well, back into the country, Nginyo Kariuki, a business magnate and veteran politician, has passed on. Kariuki died at Nairobi's Aga Khan Hospital early this morning. He will be remembered for being at the forefront of the push for multi-party democracy, besides having led an active political life. Kariuki was also a founding member of the National Alliance Party, TNA, which propelled President Uhuru Kenyatta into power. An avid golfer, Kariuki was also a keen investor in real estate and in the hospitality industry, having built Nginyo Towers and owned the Lenana Mount Hotel. And that definitely wraps up our bulletin this hour. Many thanks for keeping us company. More news later on in our subsequent bulletins. My name is Nabi Smile. Have yourself a fantastic afternoon.
This is NTV.
Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. Panadol Extra, now with new Optizorb technology. To fight multiple tough pains with 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most.
Molfix breathable surface developed with Airsoft technology is very soft and provides the best Molfix skincare.
I found the best diaper for my baby's sensitive skin.
All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
Looking at the assignment keenly, we are supposed to be in Mombasa County, not Kilifi County. That is where we are headed right now.
Hey, nakwambia. Si tulitoka mbio.
Yeah.
This story was a story that didn't go very far beyond writing out of casual observation.
The story did not really come out the way you've pitched it, and that was very disappointing for me.
It is easier to buy heroin in the streets of Mombasa than to buy sugar from a supermarket.
Scars of injection.
At that time, I was like half dead, half alive.
Rejection.
At the society, I was like thrown out of it, and I was an HIV victim. When you say that, they think of commercial sex work.
Drug use and abuse.
Ile mtoto pia hata alipozaliwa ile miadarati ilikuwa ishamuingia. Kama nitakuwa sijavuta alafu nimnyonyeshe, hataki.
Journey from the drug dens to the safe haven.
Tunapa hizi service wanajirembesha wenyewe pia, si lazima sisi tuwafanyie.
Why should we die? Why should we waste our lives while we can recover?
The three sides of Anna.
The sins that your father committed.
Look, I don't want to continue talking about my father.
I just want to help you.
I don't understand why you refused, during all these years, to believe the possibility that she was still alive.
My sister drowned, Ramiro. And that's the reason why they never found a body.
Ana Lucia was the only one in my life. When I finally discovered that I was married, I was determined to get a divorce.
I also have the right to know everything that you found out about Ana Lucia.
I'm sorry, but I don't know what you're talking about.
The three sides of Anna.
With Lipa na M-Pesa, you get more. Every 100 shillings spent on Lipa na M-Pesa earns you an entry into the draw. Do more with Lipa na M-Pesa.